No matter where it is, strength is the core factor. At this moment, Chen Yuan is the same. He used his strength to prove everything. When looking at the figure of the young man, Gao Quan Yin and everyone in the film crew couldn't help but feel admiration. Chen Yuan, you're really amazing. Is this really your first acting performance? Oh my, this is clearly a professional actor. So impressive. It's all thanks to you. Receiving praise from Gao Quan Yin, Chen Yuan's eyes slightly squinted, revealing a bit of pride but not too ostentatious. It's nothing much. However, Chen Yuan knew very well in his heart that his acting skills had improved thanks to the system, so these scenes were not difficult for him at all. At this moment, Yang Sison was watching the post-production editing of the film. With over 600 shots, he couldn't help but be stunned. Initially, the whole crew was worried because Jiao Yishin was moving at a snail's pace, slowing down the process. Everyone thought that during this Tet holiday, they would only be able to watch the fireworks and not finish the film. But no one expected that in just one day, Chen Yuan jumped in with rocket speed, and every scene he shot met the standard right from the first take. Now the entire film crew was no longer worried about making the Tet deadline, but was concerned about what to do with half a month left after finishing the film early. To conclude, saying that Chen Yuan is a newbie now is like saying a 5-star Michelin chef has just learned how to chop vegetables. He no longer resembles a complete rookie. Instead, it's as if he has been rolling on set for decades, living and breathing with the camera. His acting is that of a seasoned performer, leaving me in awe, wondering what? The Godfather is making his acting debut and has already exceeded expectations, so is he an actor from a previous life? The Godfather truly is divine. At this moment, Ouyang Ling and several actresses could not hide their admiration when talking about Chen Yuan. But more than that, there is the scent of money emanating from him. The more Liv Yong-won is looked at, the more handsome he appears. He is indeed a man of both talent and wealth, just too perfect. That's right, and he's strict with himself. Everything he does reaches perfection. I wish he would notice me. One actress laughed out loud, exactly. If Lim Yong-won had any unspoken rules with me, I would definitely agree immediately. What special treatment is needed? Just one night with him would be more than enough. If that happens, I could brag about it for a lifetime. Another actress teased, "Are you dreaming? You're not even in line yet." The more they talked, the more the actresses around laughed and chatted excitedly, their words incredibly bold. Yang Sison accidentally overheard this conversation and immediately felt worried. It seems like it's time to subtly remind Chen Yuan. The stage may be wide, but the bed is narrow, and the number of female artists wanting to climb up is as many as ants after their nest has been disturbed. It's really dangerous. He might end up as the lead in the romantic film Artists Compete for the Lost Boss. Thinking of this, Yang Sison couldn't help but sigh. This film studio is nothing less than a spring garden, vibrant with all the young beauties, freshly graduated, or even still studying arts. They all look invigorated and full of life. However, on screen, they just play fleeting supporting roles. No one remembers their faces or names. To climb higher, these girls are willing to take risks, unashamedly offering themselves as a way in. As a director, I am too familiar with these scenes. It's not always the director who sets traps, forcefully pushing girls into unspoken roles. Usually, it's the girls themselves who come with a conquest plan, and sometimes they even have to wait in line for a chance to approach. In the end, who is following the unspoken rules? In this era, fame has to be paid for with one's own body. Around 5 p.m., when the shadows of the trees leaned like artistic photos on Instagram, the fleet of supercars began to roll into the filming set one after another. Ever since Chen Yuan criticized her Mercedes for not being luxurious enough, Yu Lingshuan completely switched to a lineup of all Rolls-Royce Phantoms. Each one seemed to have a flying figurine extending out as if to say, "I'm here to play with you." As soon as she stepped out of the car, Yu Lingshuan made the atmosphere on set come alive. Oh my god, isn't that the CEO of Fei Dun Group? The extraordinary billionaire businesswoman? That's wrong. The Film City project she manages has long surpassed the milestone of $1 trillion, so she should be called the extraordinary billionaire businesswoman. I can't believe it. A young and beautiful person like her is such a big name. That's right, not only does Fei Dun have $200 billion in liquid assets, but this group also doesn't need to borrow money from banks. This means the Film City project is still as solid as a monument. All construction and planning are progressing on schedule. Right now, those who just got their money back from buying houses are so furious they're about to spit blood. But this time, people can't buy houses at the old prices anymore. They're regretting it so much. If only they had bought a house back then, they would have made a large profit by now. Damn, my uncle is going crazy. Just last week, he returned a house and got his deposit back, thinking he would make a good profit. Who would have thought that now the price has skyrocketed to $15,000 per square meter, and even $15,000 may not guarantee a purchase. If anyone wants to buy, they should hurry. If they wait a bit longer, the price could soar to $20,000. While everyone was chatting excitedly, Yu Ling Shuang walked straight up to Chen Yuan. As she approached, her tone was respectful and serious. "Boss, this is the financial report for this month. Please take a look." Chen Yuan furrowed his brows and nodded. Yu Ling Shuang continued. "Boss, 2 days ago, after the working capital of the group was made public, the company's situation underwent an astonishing turnaround. Currently, everyone knows you hold 50% of the shares of Jiang Bakum Pharmaceutical Manufacturing Group, making your financial resources seemingly endless. Therefore, the Film City project has attracted great attention and real estate prices have surged to $15,000 per square meter." Chen Yuan took a sip of tea and, upon hearing this, spat it out in surprise, asking back, "What? Did you just say the price is how much? $15,000. Yu Ling Shuang replied in astonishment. $15,000. Boss, is there a problem? At first, Chen Yuan was eager and excited to see Yu Ling Shuang as someone who knew how to spend money. But now, Yu Ling Shuang had turned into a money-making machine. Chen Yuan's feelings shifted from joy to dissatisfaction, then to introspection. Damn it, the house prices have reached $15,000. It sounds like these investors have decided to change their profession to printing money. And the worst part is, I still have nearly $90,000 trillion in my system account. Chen Yuan sighed. Yu Ling Shuang, why are you making so much money? I can't even spend the money on my system entities. I was planning to spend the entire $90,000 trillion on my system entities. In the beginning, I thought everyone was just throwing money out the window, but who knew that those people succeeded beyond expectations every time? Wherever they invested, it blossomed like a field full of money flowers. Oh my God, why is everyone turning into business geniuses? They say that doing business is difficult and easy to go bankrupt. So why are these people doing so well? This isn't good. Prices can't keep rising like this. Chen Yuan stood there, alternating between sighing and bitterly laughing as if he was trapped with no way out. Yu Ling Shuang stood beside him, initially confused, then skeptical, not sure what to say. However, she patiently waited because with Chen Yuan, no matter how naive or contemplative he seemed, he always anticipated and calculated like a genius. Surely the boss is thinking of some great strategy. But then Chen Yuan suddenly let out a sigh, turning to say with a look as if he had realized the truth. House prices have risen too high and can no longer continue to increase. Can we lower the house prices a bit more? Yu Ling Shuang said with admiring eyes. That's right, boss, you truly see through everything long ago. Chen Yuan was a bit stunned, his head full of question marks. What did you see through? How did you understand so quickly? Yu Ling Shuang replied, Boss, $15,000 is already the lowest mark. Even if we lower it, it won't reduce the enthusiasm for buying houses among those people outside, and we can't push it any further. But, boss, house prices can't continue to rise foolishly. If they keep increasing, it might clash with state policies. This is just the first issue. There is one more thing. If house prices rise to over $20,000, people with average incomes will no longer be able to afford them. Once it reaches that level, the development of the film city will face difficulties. The city will need price stability so that the working class feels that if they work hard, they can buy a house. Thanks to that, they will work harder because they feel there is hope. Hearing Yu Ling Shuang's explanation, Chen Yuan stood frozen for a moment, feeling that her words were really reasonable. But something still felt off. He thought carefully. Taking money from labor, hiring laborers to build houses, then selling them at a high price, while laborers must work their whole lives to pay off the loans. This sounds a bit off, doesn't it? Chen Yuan pondered and suddenly found the idea of making money from real estate somewhat distasteful. Young people today face too many hardships, with monthly salaries ranging from $3,000 to $5,000, and even with higher education, they might earn only $10,000 to $20,000. Where would they find money to buy a house? Buy a hammer? In the end, Chen Yuan realized, from now on, all housing projects of fee done will exclude the calculation of shared space. People will only pay for usable space. After hearing this, Yu Ling Shuang stared wide-eyed in shock. Boss, you want to set a precedent for the entire real estate industry in the country. But thinking about having to bear this entire loss, Yu Ling Shuang couldn't help but shiver, its scalp numb. He decided again to exclude the calculation of shared space. That meant each house would see its sale price reduced by tens of thousands of dollars, and for larger apartments, the loss could reach hundreds of thousands of dollars. Just one move could shake the entire corporation. This is not a small matter. This boss is really bold, but how can such boldness make people admire him so much? Yu Ling Shuang felt increasingly scared as she thought. The profits from real estate were no longer as high as before. This was thanks to adding common areas to make a profit. Just cutting off the common area would evaporate over $100 billion in profits. Furthermore, the development of the Fei Dun Group would not stop here. The film city was just the beginning. If they later expanded the project to other cities, would they have to eliminate all common areas as well? Yu Ling Shuang found it hard to believe what she had just heard. She gasped and confirmed. Boss, are you really going to eliminate the common area? Abolishing the common area? Isn't this a declaration of war against the entire real estate industry? Chen Yuan stood up straight, his gaze distant, and confirmed firmly. Absolutely. The current house prices are already high enough. How many young people cannot afford a home? If we are still calculating profits from common areas, isn't that too unethical? From today on, all real estate projects of Fei Dun will eliminate the calculation of common areas and just proceed like that. Yu Ling Shuang looked at Chen Yuan's calm expression, as if he had carefully considered everything before making the decision. She couldn't help but laugh bitterly. Is it really about ethics in business? In the business world, who doesn't try to squeeze a bit more profit and calculate every square meter of common area? And Chen Yuan decided not to do that. Wouldn't that make him foolish? More importantly, he was giving it all up. Wasn't that like giving away a pile of money to others? But Yu Ling Shuang understood one thing. Chen Yuan's orders were inevitable. Once Chen Yuan made a decision, even though she had many doubts in her heart, she still had to nod in agreement. Yes, sir. But then, Yu Ling Shuang thought in a more subjective direction. With Chen Yuan's cleverness, does he really intend to give away money? Or is this part of a deeper plan that I still can't understand? Chen Yuan placed his hand on Yu Ling Shuang's shoulder, his tone full of innuendo. Ling Shuang, have you been short on money lately? If the company is facing difficulties, just tell me. Yu Ling Shuang smiled brightly, responding with full confidence. Boss, what money does the corporation lack? You just gave me $200 billion as working capital. After our financial information was made public, many banks rushed to lend us money. The new real estate offers sold out quickly, and the prices are soaring. Currently, the corporation's account has exceeded $500 billion to the point where launching several hundred projects at once is not a problem. Hearing Yu Ling Shuang's report, Chen Yuan rolled his eyes in contempt. That if there's no shortage, so be it. Then he slapped his forehead and sighed. Indeed, rotten wood cannot be carved. You didn't even understand the boss's hint. If you do that, what excuse do I have to transfer more money to you? Yu Ling Shuang continued to report seriously. That's right, boss. Recently, many corporations want to cooperate with Fei Dun, including Longhe Group and Qinshi Group. They even proposed to build the Longhe school system right in Meiyang County from elementary to high school. Hearing about Longhe Group, Chen Yuan nodded. He wasn't from Maduo, but he had heard of Longhe, a prestigious private school system ranked among the best in the country. Every parent wants their child to study there, even willing to spend tens of millions to buy a house in a school district. Yu Ling Shuang continued to present. Longhe is not only famous for its teaching quality, but also has a network connected to top universities around the world. Parents spare no expense sending their children to study there just for the chance to go abroad later. Here, the lowest level teachers already have master's degree holder from renowned schools. Not to mention, talented students from top schools are also invited by Longhe. They have an extremely high-level teaching staff. If Longhe comes to the film city, it will surely turn this area into a place that everyone aspires to settle in. Hearing Yu Ling Shuang's report, Chen Yuan couldn't help but ponder. If Longhe comes here, countless families will rush to buy houses. The scene of parents competing to ensure their children receive an education will surely drive real estate prices up again. By then, how could we possibly funnel money to Yu Ling Shuang? Then Chen Yuan continued to ask, what conditions did they propose? Yu Ling Shuang confidently reported, Longhe wants to offer $10 billion to buy 5% of Fei Dun's shares. But I find this demand outrageous, as $10 billion is at most equivalent to only 1% of the shares. Considering the growth potential of the film city, 5% of the shares in the future could exceed $500 billion. Of course, I declined this request, but I didn't completely dismiss the idea of collaboration. After all, Longhe is a prestigious educational brand. As soon as they appear, the real estate prices in the campus area will skyrocket, drawing in a crowd of families eager to buy homes. Upon hearing this, Chen Yu immediately concluded, Longhe School, huh? Don't even dream of letting those people in here. Real estate prices will soar again. We can't allow them to get a foothold. Even though it felt like watching Chen Yuan throw an entire mountain of gold into the river, Yu Ling Shuang still had to comply. Yes, sir. Right after that, a brilliant idea flashed in Chen Yuan's mind. Education. That's right. This is the ideal money-burning place. Building schools requires enormous costs. But what if I do it a little differently? Waiving tuition for all students, even for books, housing, and even food, will also be free. Then the annual costs will surely increase significantly, won't they? Not stopping there, Chen Yuan continued to think. I could also offer really high salaries for teachers, the highest of the education sector ever, and salaries would be based on that standard. The more I thought, the more excited I became. If one school costs 100 million a year, then with 1,000 schools, it would cost 100 billion a year. And with 10,000 schools, it could reach 1,000 billion. After completing domestically, I could even open schools abroad. Ha ha, I'm really smart. That means I've found another reason to spend money. Education, like healthcare, is all about burning money. Heaven is helping me. In the not-so-distant future, the money of $90 trillion will definitely be spent. Without further thought, Chen Yuan asserted strongly, this matter does not require any further consideration. We will build the school ourselves. Starting today, Fight Done Education is officially established. I will immediately select several plots of land in the film city to build the school. Chen Yuan continued with a decisive tone, each word clear. The school must be grand, from kindergarten to primary school, middle school to high school. We will build the most prestigious, luxurious schools in the country. The area must be spacious, with complete facilities, and the architectural design must be splendid. The library, sports area, and student accommodation must be thoroughly prepared. The students' dormitories need to have private bathrooms, air conditioning, refrigerators, and washing machines. Nothing must be missing. Chen Yuan paused for a moment and then emphasized, and especially when the school is certified by the education department, all tuition fees, textbook costs, and living expenses must be completely free. I will immediately transfer 500 billion to start this project. Let's make that the decision. Upon hearing this, Yu Lingshuang stood still, her eyes wide with astonishment. In her mind, enormous figures flashed before her, and a tingling sensation rose from her feet to the top of her head. It seemed that all of Chen Yuan's plans were beyond imagination. After that, she tried to calmly analyze. Boss, if we proceed as he suggests, providing entirely free education while also offering a top-notch educational environment, it would be no different than transforming the business into charity. I propose that this task be assigned to the CNY Charity Fund. This way, we can still receive support from public benefit organizations. It would be more reasonable for Fight Done to participate in a supportive role. Furthermore, Sub-Quan has a father, Dongui, who would be a significant driving force. Not to mention, So-Quan also has an extensive network of relationships. Entrusting her with the management of this educational area would be the most appropriate choice. Upon hearing this, Chen Yuan nodded in agreement. Yes. So-Quan is indeed a more suitable choice. Moreover, Fight Done Group is a company that operates with the goal of investing and profiting. The company's expertise lies in real estate development. If the purpose is solely to earn money through education, that makes sense. However, wanting to provide everything for free would simply be charity. In that case, it would be best to let the charity fund take care of it. Chen Yuan paused mid-sentence and did not continue. Yu Lingshuan curiously asked, her eyes sparkling while waiting for an answer. What is the key point? But Chen Yuan avoided the question, turning away hurriedly. It's nothing. I will find an opportunity to discuss this with Miss. The more he acted this way, the more suspicious Yu Lingshuang became. Gradually, her curiosity rose like a tide in her heart, making her unable to stop thinking about every little detail. Nothing? This is the first time I've seen Chen Yuan hesitate like this. There must be something fishy going on. Did they have feelings for each other before? If not, why is he so flustered? The CNY Charity Fund has recently been spending money like water, especially after So-Quan heard that the Jiangbuk Pharmaceutical Manufacturing Group and Fight Done are thriving. No longer hesitant, she boldly purchased land to build a hospital, recruited talent, and improved employee benefits. She even expanded aid to include patients with minor but costly illnesses. In just 3 to 5 days, So-Quan spent $10 billion of the charity fund while unilaterally expanding the scope of support from Jiangbuk to the entire province. This led to an uncontrollable chain reaction, prompting people from other provinces to quickly take advantage of the opportunity to receive aid, while actual patients in Jiangbuk were left without support. This disparity caused outrage, with citizens demanding explanations and even protesting in front of the hospital. So-Quan's heart softened when she saw the patients gasping for breath. She couldn't bring herself to refuse anyone, which led to the depletion of the charity fund. Even the money for building the hospital has run out, but the gap is still not filled. Kim Jenny worriedly reported to President that the current financial situation is very serious. Although the charity fund is not a profit-making organization, if we keep spending like this without any income, We will eventually be drained and the charity fund could collapse in a short time if this situation is not controlled. Seok-hwan sighed, her voice tired. I understand. In the past, I was indeed somewhat naive, but now in hindsight, it is too late. The situation is so chaotic. Can we still recover money after spending it? At this moment, Seok-hwan began to feel deep regret. It was all because I was too impulsive. With the emergence of the new drug from the Jeonbokgum Pharmaceutical Manufacturing Group, I thought that the treatment costs for severe patients would significantly decrease. But the number of patients coming to Jeonbokgum from other provinces has exceeded expectations. This situation is really difficult to handle. Every time I think about the charity money, I find it ultimately going back into Chen Yuan's pockets and I feel frustrated. This guy is so cunning. On top of that, Chen Yuan hasn't even answered my calls for several days now. This unscrupulous guy probably thinks it's a call to demand money. Kim Jenny continued to suggest, Chairman, right now, only Lim Young-won can solve this issue. Should I call him? Feeling ignored, Seok-hwan could not accept that. Now, hearing Kim Jenny mention Shen Yuan, Seok-hwan got angry. Don't mention him again. I'm getting mad here. He hasn't contacted me. Should I just go and reach out to him? And now what? The hospital isn't even completed. The patients aren't being helped much, and society is constantly criticizing the charity fund. The reputation isn't bringing any benefits either. Did I spend tens of billions of dollars just to be scolded? What am I spending this money for in the end? At that moment, the assistant rushed in. Director Kim, Chairman, there's another wave of critically ill patients coming to the hospital today. The beds aren't enough. Kim Jenny remained calm, unruffled. Sayo Lai, don't panic. Take me to the hospital. I'll coordinate a bit. The door slammed shut, leaving the atmosphere of the chairman's room heavier than ever. Seok-hwan sat there, feeling like he was rowing a boat while water was flooding in from all sides. It wasn't a matter of lack of experience, but he felt an abundance of self-blame. The problem had far exceeded my anger. Honestly, I really didn't know how to face Chen Yuan. He had trusted me with a charity fund worth tens of billions, and what now? The funds that were supposed to be used for development have been drained, and even the money for building the hospital has vanished. The current situation is beyond control. The consequences are getting worse and worse. I not only failed in management, but also ruined the reputation of the entire charity fund. The number of critically ill patients keeps coming to the hospital without pause. Human life is more important than anything else, but calling Shen Yuan means asking for money. Only by receiving a huge aid package can the charity fund continue to operate and new projects be completed. If not, everything will fall into a frozen state, and the consequences will be even more serious. The more he thought about it, Seok-hwan knew he was falling into an extremely awkward situation. The issue wasn't just asking for a few $100 million, but several tens of billions. Who would dare to request such a huge amount without feeling embarrassed? So with the phone in hand, Seok-hwan fidgeted, staring at the screen without daring to dial a number. That said, do I really have to ask for so much money? Tens of billions, not just a few coins. What if I call and he asks why the spending is so quick? How will I respond? Taking a risk is one thing, but should I let the charity fund go bankrupt on my watch? It's not just about asking for money. I will also seek his opinion on the situation. So it would be 2 in 1, asking for money while discussing, which feels a bit less awkward. After an hour of contemplation, Seok-hwan finally decided to press call. At that moment, Chen Yuan was on set when his phone rang. Seeing Seok-hwan's name appear on the screen, he hesitated for a moment, his eyes glinting with calculation. Seok-hwan calls just when he needs something. Currently, among all the individuals I am taking care of, Seok-hwan is the one with the most potential to bring in money. I definitely have to take advantage of this opportunity skillfully. But when he answered the phone, Chen Yuan pretended to speak in a different tone. Hello, Miss what can I do for you? Seok-hwan calmly asked. I have something very important I want to discuss with you. Can you spare some time to meet with me? What a coincidence, I also have something I want to talk to you about. Why don't you come to Tianmen? I'm here filming. Seok-hwan was in disbelief. He was clearly a billionaire, so why was he at a film set? Then, Seok-hwan pleaded, his tone serious. Chen Yuan, the situation with the charity fund is far more serious than you think. Can you let me finish speaking? Seok-hwan was preparing a long explanation, hoping Shen Yuan would listen and understand the severity of the issue. But before he could finish his first sentence, Chen Yuan's voice rang out with arrogance and laziness. All right, I'm very busy, handle it yourself. It's just a small amount of money, I'll transfer it now, no need to worry. As soon as he finished speaking, Chen Yuan hung up, not allowing Seok-hwan to say another word, leaving her disappointed. Seok-hwan was a bit stunned, her favorite level dropped by 2 points and her current favorite level was 92 points. Then, Seok-hwan became so angry that she felt like she could explode, full of indignation. What a wicked man. I intended to have a serious conversation and he hung up. Could it be that in his mind the term serious only means asking for money? This mindset is way too petty. Damn, is a model man really this small-minded? Holding on to such a trivial grievance for so long and still bearing a grudge? Does the heart need to be so tiny? It's driving me insane. Just when Seok-hwan was about to smash her phone in frustration, a notification sound from the banking app rang out. Ha! Account number ending in 6789 has received $300 billion. Please check again. Seok-hwan opened her phone and looked at the number displayed. What? 300 billion? Oh my god, 300 billion? Seok-hwan stood frozen in shock, unable to close her mouth. She was completely stunned by the long string of 12 digits dancing on her phone screen. Her vision began to blur and everything around her seemed to come to a halt. No words could express her chaotic emotions. At this moment, Seok-hwan could only stand there, her mind spinning, trying to digest the unimaginable reality she had just witnessed. Is this the small amount of money he mentioned? Who casually transfers $300 billion like this? In less than 30 seconds, strangely, Seok-hwan no longer felt disappointed or angry, but rather a bit excited. Finally, she exhaled, feeling an immense sense of relief throughout her body. At that moment, a warm and touching feeling surged within Seok-hwan. The 300 billion won transfer was made without a frown, without hesitation. Wasn't it obvious how important I was to him? But then, Seok-hwan suddenly felt a heavy weight in her heart. Waves of self-reproach washed over her. She felt utterly ashamed. Earning money isn't easy for Chen Yun. That money didn't fall from the sky. So why had I never considered his difficulties? I relied solely on the fact that he had money and spent it lavishly without any restraint. He wasn't obligated to do charity. That was his kindness, not his duty. How dare I reprimand him? A person like him would rather bear the pressure alone without saying a word, yet still quietly help others. So why hadn't I recognized this sooner? Thinking of this made Seok-hwan's eyes sting. She felt truly blameworthy. Seok-hwan favorite level increased by 1, current favorite level 93 points.